We've now added 3 more meanings, which makes 26. And I remember reading that, but I don't remember exactly where those 3 meanings were. Okay. I'll just continue here. Bandeham Shri. Oh, it hasn't started yet, huh?
Yes. It's on.
Yeah. I thought she said it started.
Huh?
Started.
I thought she said it started.
It's on.
If the dark light is on, then it's starting.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sja Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganarakunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vidam Sja Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnanachana Shalakya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Nama Gurva Bhistam Supuragam Guraganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govindabidam Ujjalam Bharatanam Bhaktyanvidam Sundaram Mande Vishwagurunja Divyad Bhagavat Premna Vibija Pradam Devam Divyatanam Suchandabaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nitim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Vanditam Shubhanam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Shiraram Manshakapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratabhishe Namaha. So, we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and this is the Madhya Lila, chapter 24, the 61 explanations of the Atmarama verse. So yesterday we heard how the word nirgranta was used to indicate in this case, a hunter, and Mahaprabhu told a story of Mrigari, the hunter, and how by the association of Sri Narad Muni, he became a devotee. And when we were reading that, we talked about how there's a very, you can say, a critical point where Mrigari is made aware of how he's going to be held responsible for his activities, and then he wants to be relieved, and he wants to actually get the shelter of the Vaishnavas. He wants to get the shelter. He wants to take instruction from Sri Narad Muni. So the first thing that Narad Muni tells him is, now break your bow. And that represents something very difficult for Mrigari the hunter, because that's his livelihood, that's how he maintains his family. And he says, if I break my bow, how will I maintain my family? And Narad Muni says that I will send you your sustenance. And that happens. In fact, Mrigari receives so much that he says, don't send so much. They're bringing too many things. Now that's the way the narration of Mrigari the hunter, how it develops. But also I was talking about the point where there are many people that it's hard. We see devotees that haven't necessarily made that decision, like Mrigari, and they waver between they have, I'm sure they have faith in their heart, in the instructions of Gurudev and in the process of devotional service. But in some cases, they haven't really made that decision that they will be, that the Krishna consciousness will be more than just a religion for them, but that it will actually be they're surrendering themselves, and they'll depend on whatever, whatever happens in their life, they'll depend on the instructions of Gurudev and the association of the devotees. Sometimes it's hard to see that one way or the other, because persons are continuing with their devotional service. But I also believe there's a point in that, not always, but there's a point with this happening that also leads to more understanding of actually what is devotion, what is the philosophy, and everything will come when one actually makes that decision to be, that whatever happens in one's life, they will depend on the mercy of Gurudev and the service of the Lord. And it's not just that they're coming for holidays or coming for programs, etc. So, and sometimes it's hard to convey that point to people. They just, they've been devotees for some time and they follow the process and everything, but they haven't had to make necessarily that decision. But we see that many of the devotees who originally came to Krishna consciousness, they had to make that decision. Now, admittedly, some of them maybe didn't do that because they stayed for some time and then they left. And in some cases just gave up completely on Krishna consciousness. So now I'm going to go on. This is text number 283. Ayaratinarta Gananate Paila Edui Arta Mili Chabisha Arta Hoila. In this way, we have found 3 more meanings of the Atmarama verse. Combine these with the other meanings, and the total number of meanings adds up to 26 in all. Ara Arta Shuna Jaha Artera Bandar Stulidui Arta Shukme Barisha Batrisha Prakar Arta Shunajaha Artera Bandar Stulidui Arta Shukme Batrisha Prakar. There is yet another meaning which is full of a variety of imports. Actually, there are 2 gross meanings and 32 subtle meanings. The 2 gross meanings refer to regulative devotional service and spontaneous devotional service. There are also 32 subtle meanings. Under the heading of regulative devotional service, there are 16 meanings based on understanding the word Atmarama to mean a servant of the Lord as his personal associate, a personal friend, personal parents or similar superiors, a personal beloved, a servant elevated by spiritual cultivation, a friend by spiritual cultivation, parents and superior devotees by cultivation of devotional service, a beloved wife or female friend by cultivation of devotional service, a mature devotee as a servant, a mature devotee as a friend, a mature devotee as a parent and superior, a mature devotee as a wife and beloved, an immature devotee as a servant, an immature devotee as a friend, an immature devotee as a father or superior, and an immature devotee as a beloved. So that's 16 different categories. Similarly, under the heading of spontaneous devotional service, there are also 16 various associates. Therefore, the total number of devotees under the heading of regulated devotees and spontaneous devotees is 32. Atma Shabde ko he sarva bida Bhagavan, ek svayam Bhagavan, ara Bhagavan akyan. The word Atma refers to all the different personalities of Godhead. One of them is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is Swayam Bhagavan. It's the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, Krishna, and the others are different incarnations or expansions of Krishna. The word Atma includes all kinds of personalities known as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This means that Krishna has unlimited expansions. This is described in the Brahma Samhita. So it says here, Bhagavan, the word Atma also includes all kinds of personalities known as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I always took it that Supreme Personality of Godhead to me more seemed like Svayam Bhagavan, the Godhead, meaning the source of all incarnations and everything. So I would think of the original source as being Krishna. Anyway, this means that Krishna has unlimited expansions. This is described in the Brahma Samhita. Diparchireva I dashantaram abhyupetya. Diparchireva dashantaram abhyupetya. Dipayate vivrita hetu samana dharma. Yas tadrigeva icha. Vishnu taya vibhati govindamani parusham tamaham bhajami. Departure eva ida shantaram abhyupetya dipayate vivrita hetu samana dharma yastadrigeva icha Vishnu taya vibhati govindamani parusham tamaham bhajami. Expansions of Krishna are thus compared to candles that have been lit from an original candle. All the secondary candles are equally powerful, but the original candle is that from which all the others have been lit. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He has expanded as Balaram, Shankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. In this way, there are innumerable incarnations and expansions who are also called Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Regarding the variety of personalities known as Bhagavan, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that the personality of Godhead known as Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that His expansions are also called the Personality of Godhead. In other words, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the origin of all other personalities of Godhead. Speculative philosophers and mystic yogis also meditate upon the form of Krishna, but this form is not the form of the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ch.Ch. Bhagavan is but a partial representation of the Lord's full potency. Nonetheless, He also has to be understood to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To clarify this matter, one should simply understand that Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan, the friend of the cowherd boys and lover of the gopis, is actually the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is attained by spontaneous love. Although His expansions are also called the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are attained only by the execution of regulative devotional service. So this term is used so much that in some unappealing colloquialisms, they just refer to that as SPOG, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But anyway, this is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's nomenclature. He has coined that. Tante Rami Jay Se Sab Atmarama Vidibhakta Ragabhakta Duibida Nama. So my feeling when I read sometimes books and they mention Supreme Personality of Godhead multiple times in a paragraph, that's all thematically, it's all correct. But sometimes I think that we should be able to use some pronouns in paragraphs. It's like if you refer to the Lord many times, you can refer to Him as the Supreme Personality of God, and then sometimes you could refer to Him as He or Him if that's already been used. So anyway, just an editor's note, so to speak. Tate Rami Jay Se Saba Atmarama Bidi Bhakta Raga Bhakta Dui Bida Nama. One who always engages in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Atmarama. There are two types of Atmaramas. One is an Atmarama engaged in regulative devotional service, and the other is an Atmarama engaged in spontaneous devotional service. Dui Vida Bhakta Hoy Chari Chari Prakar Parishad Sadhana Siddha Sadhaka Gana Ar. Both the Atmaramas engaged in regular devotional service and those engaged in spontaneous devotional service are further categorized into four groups. There are the eternal associates, the associates who have become perfect by devotional service, and those who are practicing devotional service and are called sadhakas, of whom there are two varieties. But both the Atmaramas, those engaged in Vidhi Marg and those in Rag Marg, or let's see, Dui Vida Bhakta Hoy Chari Chari Prakar Parishad Sadhana Siddha Sadhaka Gana Ar. So there are two types of Atmaramas. One is an Atmarama engaged in regulative devotional service, Vidhi Bhakta, and the other is a Rag Bhakta. The other is an Atmarama engaged in spontaneous devotional service. Both the Atmaramas engaged in regulative devotional service, Vidhi Bhakta, and those engaged in spontaneous devotional service, or Rag Bhaktas, are further categorized into four groups. There are the eternal associates, the associates who have become perfect by devotional service, and those who are practicing devotional service and are called sadhakas, of whom there are two varieties. Chata ajata rati bede sadhaka dui bed, bidi raga marge chari chari ashtabed. Those who are practicing devotional service are either mature or immature. Therefore, the sadhakas are of two types. Since the devotees execute either regular devotional service or spontaneous devotional service, and there are four groups within these two divisions. Altogether, there are 8 varieties. Bidi Bhakti Nitya Siddha Parishad Das Sakka Guru Kantagan Chari Bida Prakash. By executing regular devotional service, one is elevated to the platform of an eternally perfect associate, such as a servant, friend, superior, or beloved woman, a lover. Each of these is of 4 varieties: Sadhan, Siddha, Dash, Sakka, Guru, Kantagan, Jatarati, Sadhaka, Bhakta, Chari Bida Jan. Among those who have perfected themselves by devotional service, there are servants, friends, superiors, and beloved damsels. Similarly, there are 4 types of mature devotees. Sadhana Siddha, Dash, Sakka, Guru, Kantagan, Jatarati, Sadhaka, Bhakta, Chari Bida Jan. So this is what I would say we're practicing, the process of sadhana bhakti. We're practicing sadhana bhakti. And I would consider that, it's not, I wouldn't say it's sadhana bhakti is, of course, we could sometimes said as a neophyte, sometimes said as a beginner, but I believe it's distinguished. For me, it's distinguished from Vidhi Marg. We're not necessarily practicing Vidhi Marg, but we are practicing sadhana bhakti. Yeah. So we're going to Mangalarti, we're going to the activities of the temple, we're we're worshiping the deities, we're worshiping Tulsi and all that. But this is not exact, I wouldn't consider that this is Vidhi Bhakti. It's just this is a practicing life of a devotee. So, and you could say, Well, practicing life means that you haven't become perfect. Well, yes, we would say that. But there can also be a subtle understanding of practicing, like you can say, this person is a practicing doctor. He's a practicing doctor. It doesn't mean on every patient he's practicing, trying to learn how to be a doctor. But that's his livelihood. That's what he does. So they say that's his practice. He's a doctor, and what is his practice? He's a surgeon, something like that. So you could say, in one sense, sadhana bhakti is practicing. One is a practicing devotee. So one could say, yes, continually we're learning. But also, that is what we have chosen to be. That is what we're chosen to do. Ajatarati sadhaka bhakta echari prakar bidi marge bhakti shodasha beda prachar. Within the category of regular devotional service, there are three. There are also immature devotees. These are also of 4 varieties. Thus, in regular devotional service, there are altogether 16 varieties. So then, how will you distinguish Rag Marg? Well, Guru Maharaj has distinguished Rag Marg when he said that a person is known according to their ideal. So our ideal is that devotional service which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gurudev have given. And the devotional service that Mahaprabhu is given is the worship of Shri Radha and Krishna. Now, I would say the worship of Vrindavan, the worship of Radha Krishna, is never the same consideration as the worship of Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha we would associate with Vidhi Marg, but we wouldn't associate the worship of Vrindavan with Vidhi Marg, especially when we consider that the residents of Vrindavan, they show practices based on their spontaneous love for Krishna. But are we of that category? No, but I would say I would say that's our worshipable ideal, and Guru Maharaj has said a person is known according to their ideal. So we aspire to be servants of the Lord, and we are not necessarily considering ourselves, just as it's saying here. Within the category of regular devotional service, there are also immature devotees. These are also 4 varieties. Thus, in regular devotional service, there are altogether 16 varieties. Raga marge aiche bhakte shodasha vibhed, dui marge atmaramer patrisha vibhed. On the path of spontaneous devotional service, there are also 16 categories of devotees. Thus, there are 32 types of Atmaramas enjoying the Supreme Lord on these 2 paths. So both the Atmaramas engaged in regular devotional service and those engaged in spontaneous devotional service are further categorized in 4 groups. There are eternal associates, the associates who have become perfect by devotional service, and those who are practicing devotional service and are called sadhakas, of whom there are 2 varieties. So that's in regular and Rag Marg and Vidhi Marg. Those who are practicing devotional service are either mature or immature. Therefore, the sadhakas are of 2 types, mature or immature. Since the devotees execute either regular devotional service or spontaneous devotional service, and there are 4 groups within these 2 divisions, altogether there are 8 varieties. And for instance, we know that in the practice, for instance, of deity worship, there are many rules and regulations which have to be followed. Just as in the life of a devotee, there are rules and regulations which have to be followed. But I've heard where Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj has said that the practice of what one is supposed to do in the altar, as far as the many practices which are bound by rules and regulations. One is not supposed to be able to allow those rules and regulations to interfere with one's actual service of the deities or relationship with the deities or feeling a personal involvement with the deities. Those things are not to get into the way of actually serving the Lord. So, within the category of regular devotional service, there are also immature devotees. These are also four varieties. That's in regular devotional service. There are altogether 16 varieties. Ragamarge, Ch.Ch, Bhakti, Shodesha Vibhed, Dui Marge, Atmaramer, Bhatrisha Vibhed. On the path of spontaneous devotional service, there are also 16 varieties of devotees. Thus, there are 32 types of Atmaramas enjoying the Supreme Lord on these two paths. Okay. Bhagavan Shai Bhakti Shodesha Vibhed Dui Margam. Okay. Muni Nigranta Cha Api Chari Shabdera Arta Jahanje Lage Tata Koraye Samarta. When these 32 types of devotees are qualified with the word Muni Nirgranta Cha Napi, the meanings can be increased in different ways and very soundly elaborated upon. When these 32 types of devotees are qualified with the words Muni Nirgranta Cha Napi, the meanings can be increased in different ways and very soundly elaborated upon. So this is the richness of Sanskrit also, Atmarama verse. There are so many interpretations that can be given. But one thing, if we look at Mahaprabhu's explanation of the meanings, these are not what I would call indirect interpretations. They are all based on what is actually there in the meaning of the verse. Mahaprabhu is drawing the direct meaning out, but in a very variegated way, so that the Atmarama verse, can be applied virtually to all living entities. And why? And then somebody can say, but are we really Atmaramas? Well, according to how Mahaprabhu is explaining, the point he's making is that anybody in any variety of life or any stage of life, they will be attracted to the service of Krishna. Whether man, woman, beast, plant, and among, because in the Bhagavad Gita, where it is Sahasra, what is it? How's the verse begin? Sahasra. It's something we quote all the time, but then when you want to quote it, you can't remember.
It's at the beginning of...
It's in Bhagavad Gita, Sahasra.
It's at the beginning of the chapter. Sahasranam.
Sahasranam.
Which chapter is it? Maybe chapter 9.
Well, Sahasrama. Just look in the Sanskrit index. And we quote this verse, and then when I want to quote it, I can't remember.
We must begin with another word.
Can I see it? Manushanam. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yaradi siddhaye yaritam api siddhanam kaschim mam veditadvada. Yeah, that's correct. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yaradi siddhaye yaritam api siddhanam kaschim mam veditadvada. So Krishna is explaining that among many, many thousands of persons, one may take to the Vedic version. Among many persons who they may be called civilized, one who's living outside of all considerations of civilized society, There, it's saying among so many species of life, there are hardly those who may, among so many species of life, 8,400,000, there is only so many persons that come to the human birth, and of the human birth, most are not even considered civilized. Those who are civilized are considered that they follow something of the Vedic life, but most are giving just lip service to the Vedas. And among those, there may be those who follow some practice. Among those, there may be a jnani, and among many persons of knowledge, there may be one who actually surrenders to the Lord. So, then there's the verse, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavam mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sadurlama. So there we understand that they're not, even among those who have attained a human birth, there are very few that actually, one in a million, who may become a devotee of the Lord. So, numerically, the devotees are not among the many forms of life. The devotees are a smaller number. But in Mahaprabhu's explanation of Atmarama verse, he's saying that the mercy of a devotee can change this equation. The mercy of a devotee. And Mahaprabhu says that, isn't it, in relationship to Vasudeva Ghosh, where Vasudeva is Vasudeva Ghosh, right? Who wants to take the karma of all living entities. And Mahaprabhu says that's not necessary. By the mercy of just a devotee such as yourself, a whole universe can be liberated. It is not very difficult. So here, in the Atmarama verse, Mahaprabhu is explaining Atmarama in such a way that everybody can be ultimately according to the actual nature of the Jiva Swarupoi Krishna Nitya Das. Everyone can be brought to the platform of by the attractive qualities of Krishna. Everyone, and the mercy of the Vaishnavas, everyone can be brought to the platform of devotional service. And we just heard how Narad Muni attracted a hunter. I saw when Govinda Maharaj was in Sokel, they had the satellite service installed. And Govinda Maharaj, he wants to know about everything. So sometimes he would watch the cooking channel, and they're not cooking vegetarian things. And he saw something about the preparations that they do. And then sometimes he would turn on the hunting channel. There's a hunting channel. But that hunting channel is far different than Mrigari the hunter. It's become so, these scopes that can see into the night, and they have something like some kind of infrared guidance and all this kind of thing, so that, the odds are against the animals. The animals know, there's so much technology involved. So Govinda Maharaj would sometimes watch these things, and sometimes the devotees are horrified watching these things. But Govinda Maharaj, he's a Param Vaishnava, and he's just looking on. And it's almost like he's watching on, and the devotees may be a little taken aback, but Govinda Maharaj is just watching to see what is going on in the West. What are they doing? Yeah. And I've talked about that. When in India, Govinda Maharaj sometimes will watch the news. But the news basically consists of somebody comes out and just reads the news. Then sometimes they'll show a few pictures. But basically, it's just very kind of somebody reading the news. But in the West, the news is much more spectacular. You know, but Govinda Maharaj, his so deep insight that they gave him the remote control of the television set. And the news comes on. And he's watching the news. And then the advertisements come on. Now, normally, when we're at home watching anything, and advertisements come on, people just mute the advertisement. And sometimes as a result, people are advertising, they have almost like subtitles on the advertisement. So even if you mute it, we're still going to show you something. Yeah. But in the case of Govinda Maharaj, when the advertisements came on, he increased the volume so that it was almost maximum. And we're startled by this because everybody's normally muting the advertisements. But Govinda Maharaj, he increased the volume and everyone's wondering why he did that. And then he turned to the devotees and said, "This is the real program. The news is just a filler." And that is true. The real program in the West is not the news, it's the advertisements. The news is just filler, something that you can change to hold people's interest, but the real program, which Govinda Maharaj increased the volume for, was the advertisements, which I thought was very quickly he understood how things work in the West. All right, so anyway. So I was talking about that. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yaradi siddhaye yaratam api siddhanam kaschim mahaveti tadvada. Mahaprabhu is giving the direct understanding of the Atmarama verse, and that Atmarama verse shows how all living entities are ultimately attracted by the Lord. And it doesn't really matter what path they're taking, or even if they're in human life, or sometimes animals, etc., hunters, they can all be attracted to by the divine qualities of Krishna. When these 32 types of devotees are qualified with the word Muni Nir Granta Chanapi, the meanings can be increased in different ways and very soundly elaborated upon. But Ch.Ch, Chabishe Mili, Ashtapanchash, Ara Ek Beda Shuna, Ardera Prakash. When we add the 26 types of devotees to these 32, they altogether number 58. You may now hear from me of further manifestations of meanings. Itaratara cha diyas samasakorye atana bara atma rama namaloye. In this way, as I add the word cha to one word after another, I make a compound. Thus, the different names of Atmaramas can be taken 58 times. Atmaramas, Atmaramas cha, Atanabar, Seshisab, Lopakori, Raki Ekbar. In this way, one can repeat the word Atmarama with cha for each of the 58 meanings. By following the rule previously stated and rejecting all but the last, we retain that which represents all the meanings. So you don't have to repeat Atmarama's cha so many times. It's the same ending, case ending and everything. So one Atmarama's cha will include all the different meanings. Sarupanam ek sesha ek vibhakto Uktartanam aprayogi iti. Of words having the same form and case termination, the last one is the only one retained. Adanacha. And I would say, well, you get some idea, not exactly, we're not Sanskrit students, but for instance, in Spanish, if we say, todos los devotos, todos los devotos, the termination is devotos, which normally would mean male devotees. But by saying todos los devotos, we're including male and female devotees. So here, when you say Atmaramas Cha, you're including all these different 58 different meanings. Of words having the same form and case termination, the last one is the only one retained. So this is a Sanskrit terminology. Atana Cha probably also applies to Bengali. Atana Cha karera sab loba hoy ek atmarama shabde atana arta koi. When all the chakaras or additions of the word cha are taken away, 58 different meanings can still be understood by the one word Atmarama. Ashwata brikshascha, bata brikshascha, kapita brikshascha, amra brikshascha vriksha. By the plural word vriksha, trees, all trees, such as banyan trees, fig trees, kapita trees, and mango trees are indicated. Asmin bani brika falanti Ch.Ch hoy Ch.Ch sab Atmarama Krishna Bhakti Korai. The Atmarama verse is like the sentence, in this forest many different trees bear fruit. All Atmaramas render devotional service to Lord Krishna. Atmaramas cha samuchaye kohiye chakar munayas cha bhakti kore e artatar. After uttering the word Atmarama 58 times and taking cha in the sense of aggregation, one may add the word munaya. That will mean that great sages also render devotional service to Lord Krishna. In this way, there are 59 meanings. Nigrante vahaya api nirdharane e una shashti prakara arta korilun yakyane. So someone say, well, what about all the inclusion in all the Atmaramas? Yes, but here the Atmarama verse is mentioning, it's also mentioning Munaya, so that adds an additional meaning. Nigrande vahana api nirdharane e una shashti prakara arta korilun vyakyane. Then taking the word nirgrant and considering api in the sense of sustenance, I have tried to explain a 59th meaning of the verse. Sarva samuchaye ar ek arta hoy atmaramas cha munayas cha nigrantas cha bhajoy. Taking all the words together, there is another meaning. Whether one is a Atmarama, great sage, or a nirgranta, everyone must engage in the service of the Lord. The word sarva samuchaya is significant here. It includes all classes of men, Atmaramas, Munis, and Nirgrantas. Everyone must engage in the service of the Lord. Taking the word api in the sense of ascertainment, there are altogether 60 different meanings. Api shabda avadharane seho charivar chari shabda sange evera korive uchar. The word api is then used in the sense of ascertainment, and then the word eva can be uttered 4 times with 4 words. Arukrame eva bhaktim eva haitukim eva korvanti eva. The word arukrama, bhakti, ahaituki, and korvanti are added to the word eva again and again. Thus another meaning is explained. Eta kohilun shlokara shashti Sangaka arta ara ek arta shuna pramane samarta. Now I have given 60 different meanings of the verse, and yet there is another meaning which is also very strongly evident. Atma Shabde Kohe Kshetragya Jivalakan Brahmade Kita Parjanda Tara Shaktite Ganan. The word Atma also refers to the living entity who knows about his body. That is another symptom. From Lord Brahma down to the insignificant ant, everyone is counted as the marginal potency of the Lord. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Kshetra Gyakya Tatapara Avidya Karma Samgyanya Tritiya Shakti Ishyate. The potency of Lord Vishnu is summarized in three categories, namely the spiritual potency, the living entities, and ignorance. The spiritual potency is full of knowledge. The living entities, although belonging to the spiritual potency, are subject to bewilderment, so they're marginal. And the third energy, which is full of ignorance, is also visible in fruitive activities. Kshetragyatma Purusha Pradhanam Prakriti Striyam. The word Kshetragya refers to the living entity, the enjoyer, the chief, and material nature. Brahmati Brahmati Jari Sadhu Sangapai Sabatyachi Tabe Tiho Krishna Rebajai. The living entities are wandering in different species of life on different planets, but if by chance they get the association of a pure devotee sadhu, they give up all engagements and engage in the service of Lord Krishna. Brahmate Brahmati Jari Sadhu Sangapai Sabatyaji Tabe Tiho Krishna Rebajai. The living entities are wandering in different species of life on different planets, but if by chance they get the association of a pure devotee sadhu, they give up all engagements and engage in the service of Lord Krishna. So, the living entities are wandering different species of life. We know that from the teachings to Rupa Goswami. Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagavad Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lana Bij. The living entities are wandering different species of life on different planets, but if by chance they get the association of a pure devotee sadhu, they give up all other engagements and engage in the service of Lord Krishna. Sometimes they go to other planets and they don't find any life there. So then they say, and they're very confused because they only know life on Earth. But you haven't been to every planet, and you haven't been to every solar system, and you haven't been everywhere, and you haven't found life, and maybe some of the life doesn't want to meet you either.
Or you don't mean it.
What?
Or you don't want to meet the life.
Satyartha kohilun sab Krishnera bhajane, Sayartha hoy e sab udarane. And thus explains 60 different meanings, and all of them aim at the service of Lord Krishna. After giving so many examples, that is the only meaning. Ekshastiyartha ebe Srila Toma Sange, Tomara Bhakti Bhase Ute Artera Tarange. Now due to your association of Sanatana Goswami. Another meaning has awakened. It is due to your devotional service that these waves of meaning are arising. The word Atma refers to the living entity, from Lord Brahma down to an insignificant ant. Everyone is considered a living entity. Living entities are considered parts of the Lord's marginal potency. All of them are Kshetragya, knowers of the body. When they become Nigranta, or free saintly persons, they engage in Lord Krishna's service. That is the 61st meaning of the verse. So, it says, from Lord Brahma down to an insignificant ant. We've heard the term Indra Gopa sometimes they say from Lord Indra down to the Indra Gopa, right?
Brahma Samhita.
Yes. And who is an Indragopa?
It's a tiny insect. That's what I learned.
Aham vedmi shuko veti vyaso veti na veti va bhaktya bhagavatam grayam na budya na cha tikkaya. This is a very mystical verse by Lord Shiva. Aham vedmi shuko veti vyaso veti na veti va bhaktya bhagavatam grayam na budya na cha tikkaya. Remember, Vyasadeva is the compiler of the Vedic literature, and Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva said, I may know, Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, may know, and Vyasadeva may know or may not know Srimad Bhagavatam. On the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, can be learned only through devotional service, not by material intelligence, speculative methods, or imaginary commentaries. And that's also why I like to read Chaitanya Charitamrita in class, because I find that when one is reading to other devotees, then one becomes, so to speak, the meaning can flow through one, and one hears the meaning himself as if one is a listener. So I feel that, whereas if you're just reading by yourself, you may or may not get that. So Lord Shiva said, I may know Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, may know, and Vyasadeva may know or may not know Srimad Bhagavatam. On the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, can be learned only through devotional service, not by material intelligence, speculative methods, or imaginary commentaries. Devotional service includes 9 processes, beginning with hearing, chanting, and remembering the activities of the Lord, or Lord Vishnu. Only one who has taken to devotional service can understand Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the spotless Purana for a transcendentalist, Paramahamsa. So-called commentaries are useless for this purpose, according to the Vedic injunction, Yasha Devi Para Bhaktir Yata Devi Tata Guru. All Vedic literatures maintain that Srimad Bhagavatam has to be learned from the person Bhagavat, and to understand it, one has to engage in pure devotional service. Srimad Bhagavatam cannot be understood by so-called erudite scholars or grammarians. One who has developed pure devotional consciousness and has served the pure devotee, the spiritual master, can understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Others cannot. And Srila Govinda Maharaj commented that one should learn the Srimad Bhagavatam under the direction of the Guru. Artashuni Sanatana Vishmita Hoya Stuti Kore Mahaprabhu Charane Dariya. After hearing all the explanations of the different meanings of the Atmarama verse, Sanatana Goswami was struck with wonder. He fell down at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to offer prayers. So I'm going to stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue. And probably tomorrow, let's see. And this will continue, the summation of the Atmarama verse will continue, then Mahaprabhu gives instructions to Sanatana Goswami how to compile literature like the Hari Bhakti Vilas, etc. He gives instructions to Sanatana Goswami about this compilation. So tomorrow we'll hear that. Let's see. There's some. Yeah, we should be able to finish chapter tomorrow. Does anyone have a comment or question? So sometimes you would think here, commentary on the Atmarama verse is going to require some knowledge of Sanskrit, and it's going to be very detailed and go into very much, erudition and all that. And certainly that's there in the chapter. But Mahaprabhu's explanation is so vast and so wonderful that, you can learn so much just listening to Mahaprabhu's explanation of the Atmarama verse. And we remember the first instance of when we first heard that Mahaprabhu was speaking with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and in the prelude, Mahaprabhu had been in trance after fainting upon seeing, or going into trance upon seeing Lord Jagannath for the first time. Then he was taken to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. Then there's some discussion with Gopinathacharya, who says that Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya refuses to accept that. And then Sarvabhauma determines that Mahaprabhu is very young sannyasi, so he'll encounter problems, and that he should hear from him explanations. And in the Chaitanya Bhagavad, it even presents it a little bit differently too. It says that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya reprimands Mahaprabhu and says, "You're very young, and you're very humble, and you're very wonderful, but why have you taken sannyas? You've only taken sannyas to be worshipped and receive the respect of others, and this will be a stumbling block for you and everything. Like, it was a mistake that you have taken sannyas." That's the way it states it in the Chaitanya Bhagavad. So then, but in any event, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says he's going to instruct Mahaprabhu, maybe bring him into a superior sannyas sampradaya than the Bharati sampradaya, etc. And this makes all the devotees unhappy. But Mahaprabhu, and they complain to Mahaprabhu that Sarvabhauma's, he doesn't understand anything, and why is he doing this? And then Mahaprabhu argues with him, and he says, no, he's very kind, and he's trying to help me. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya instructs Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu's silent for 7 days, and then on the 8th day, Sarvabhauma says, well, you don't ask any questions, you just remain silent. I can't understand, I can't determine if you're understanding or not. And then Mahaprabhu says, well, you're right, I don't understand. And then Sarvabhauma says, well, how will you understand the Atmarama? How will you understand the Vedanta Sutra if you don't ask some questions? And then Mahaprabhu says, oh, it's not the Vedanta Sutra I have problems with. I understand intuitively the Vedanta Sutra. What I don't understand are your explanations. You seem determined to cloud the meaning of the Shastras. Then that's a big like slap on one level for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So then he believes that he's gonna, then Mahaprabhu says, actually the real commentary on the Vedanta Sutra is the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then trying to get back some of his prestige, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya more or less says, oh, I also like the Srimad Bhagavatam, and in particular I like to hear this explanation you have of this Atmarama verse. So that, the Atmarama verse, you think, is like explaining, in his eyes, saying that, very elevated sages, they may understand the Srimad Srimad Bhagavatam and may be attracted to Krishna. That, in other words, that's part of their process of evolution. Then he says to Mahaprabhu, I'd like to hear your explanation of this verse. And Mahaprabhu says, first let me hear your explanation. And Srila Govindamar said, this is Guru Maharaj's way of approaching discussions. Oh, you have a point of view, first you present your point of view, and then after presenting that point of view, well, if this were true, then this would follow, and then begin to take apart the whole argument. So anyway, first, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explains the Atmarama verse, what is it, nine different ways? And then he thinks, now I've regained some of my prestige. And he says to Mahaprabhu more or less, now if you'd like to add something, you can do that. Then Mahaprabhu doesn't touch upon any of his 9 meanings and explains the Atmarama verse 18 different ways. And then afterwards, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya comes to the conclusion that Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord. He comes to the conclusion of that Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord. That's after Mahaprabhu has explained the Atmarama verse in 18 different ways. But now, to Sanatana Goswami, Mahaprabhu has explained the Atmarama verse 61 different ways. So, anyway, because Sanatana Goswami said, oh, I heard you explain the Atmarama verse 18 different ways to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, so I'd like to hear your explanation. And Mahaprabhu says, I don't remember what I said, but by your association, I'll explain it. And then he explains it 61 ways. Very interesting the way. You do get a different way of seeing things in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. I mean, are presented in different terms. A little bit, because we've heard that Guru Maharaj said that Chaitanya Bhagavat is dealing more with the aspect of Gaur Narayan. Gaur Narayan. And it's repeatedly said in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, oh, you are the, it's referring to Mahaprabhu as Vishnu. You are Vishnu himself. And it talks like that. And it's Chaitanya Charitamrita. And sometimes in Chaitanya Bhagavat referring to Mahaprabhu as Krishna and everything, but it's more a different kind of taste or mood in the Chaitanya Bhagavat and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. A little bit more of the sense of, I would say a little bit more of the sense of awe and reverence is there. But still, he's the original Veda Vyas, he's the Vrindavan Dasas. So, okay. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yaravaya Nama Yaravaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shrimadi Srila Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Janardan Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gopala Madhya Raguna Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bhajan Jai Te Vignana Shamista Puran Echai Gosai Chamri Taradas Tasamar Padarenu Mora Panchagram Tadar Charana Sevi Matasani Bas Janame Janame More Abhilas Echai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Bhakan Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohe Naratam Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitya Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitya Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Gauranga Shi Radha Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Ragana Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Ragana Shad Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Premsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu ki Jai. Vishwavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham ki Jai. Shri Ram Mayapur ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Shri Kuladvi ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai. London Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai. Ganga Devi ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Kulindi Yamuna Jul ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Shri Pad Bhakti Hridai Mahayogi Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Vishaka Devi ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.
Shri Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki Jai.
So,
Pardon?
Maharaj going to go for a walk in Virginia, if you want to go? I'm mistaken. I just kind of find
What time will we going? Just after breakfast?
something like that, 10 o'clock?
something after breakfast. Before lunch and after breakfast, somewhere in that realm. I got. Okay.